welcome to this very special video about all things issue 9, which is kind of like tucked in there and you can't really see. Can I get it out? I can do it. So issue 9 is here, or almost here. Official publication date is on March 15th. And this time I decided to record one video diving into the depths of this beautiful publication, and about, I want to talk about all of the samples, and I want to talk about all of the yarns that we have for designs in this issue. So come on in, settle in, grab a cup of tea, grab your current whip. Let's spend the next I don't even know, 30, 45 minutes just talking about, all that is in here. I am so delighted that, we're at issue 9. We're like one issue away from double digits, and I can't believe it. I remember so clearly when we first launched issue 1, I was pregnant with Orin, at the last Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It feels so far away and so close for some reason. And it's just so astonishing to me that we're at issue 9 and you're all here with us and you keep cheering us on and supporting us and placing orders. And it just makes me so incredibly happy. So thank you so much for that. Before we dive into all of the sample goodness and all of the yarn goodness, I want to mention a couple of things about issue 9 that are new. The first one, which you will see and feel when you get your print copy, is that we have changed the paper and we have changed the printer. So I've talked at length about this in one of the previous podcast episodes, but I want to share it again here because it's really important to me. And I think it's really important, to as a part of our journey as making stories. So as you know, we're all about sustainability. So where we print and how we print and on which paper we print is really important, because you can, there are a million printers out there, and it's very easy to go the cheap route and get it printed somewhere on paper that's fresh paper, so not recycled, and call it a day. And I didn't want to do that, but I've also not been happy with our previous printer for a little while. And so at some point in the middle of last year, I took out to looking for other printers, and completely by chance stumbled across another printer based here in Berlin, because I knew that I wanted to keep it as local as possible, if possible Berlin, if that wasn't possible, at least within Germany, to cut down on transport emissions. And I stumbled across this printer called Königsdruck Berlin, which had a really interesting story. I read a profile of them and an interview with the CEO and owner, because they are a merge of two very different print companies. One company that used to focus on stickers, and then a long-standing traditional paper print house. And they merged. The sticker company bought the traditional print house very shortly before the pandemic. And then obviously the pandemic hit. And the fact that they're not only still around, but they're thriving is a testament to, I think, how well they take care of their customers and how they're looking at business, and how much, they understand also about the needs of customers, no matter whether they're like us, like a smaller indie publishing house, or really big corporates. And that kind of thinking also was my experience working with them, because it was just really lovely to work with them, starting from picking out the new paper together to then, at the end, they invited me to come to the print start and showed me everything, and were really excited, as excited as I was about all of this. And that just made me feel very good and very grateful that, they also decided to work with us. I am very happy with the new printer, and I am even happier with the new paper. We're still printing on 100% recycled paper, but we've switched to a paper that has a slight gloss to it. And we did that so that, you know, the photos and the texture and the intricacies of the designs could really shine, and the colors would come out as brilliant as they were when, you know, you see those gorgeous samples in person. So that was kind of the brief that I went to them with, and together we picked out this new paper. And what's also adding to the new brilliance of the photos and the crispness of the entire magazine is that they are printing on a machine that kind of has an LED oven. That's what I lovingly call it at the end. So after the paper has been printed, it immediately goes into an LED oven, which dries the ink on the paper so that it stays on top of the paper and doesn't sink in. Because the more it sinks in, the blurrier the pictures get and the grayer the pictures get. And as you can see, can I just talk about how good this is? I mean, obviously I'm biased, but it's really freaking great. So yeah, so very happy and very pleased with those. The last update that I want to mention, just quickly checking that we're recording, yeah, is that, and I've shared this on all of the different channels, so I hope that this is not new for you, but I also wanted to mention it. As of issue 9, we have added ads. You know that I've not wanted to have ads in this magazine because I was scared that it would thwart our independence as a publisher. I've also had to face the reality of not having a print magazine anymore without the additional ad revenue. And when it came down to the decision last year, do I want ads or do I want the magazine? It was very clear. I want the magazine. And if I have to have ads in the magazine to make that work, then ads we'll have. But ads on our terms. So the ads that you'll see in here are all from companies that we know, that we support, that have the same business values as ours. And it's also not a lot. There's a total of 3 ads in here. So there's the back cover ad by the wonderful folks at Garthenor. Thank you so much for supporting us with this. And then there are 2 ads in the body of the magazine as well by Pasquale and Fine Fettle Fibers. One is a stockist of ours, the other one is a yarn partner of ours. All 3 of them share our values towards sustainability and ethical companies. And that was really, really important to me. So yeah, that's issue 9, which is available on our website as well as through a lot of our stockists. So if you want to support your local yarn shop, check with them whether they carry it. We also have a stockist list on our website. You can subscribe and start your subscription with issue 9. And as of March 15th, it will also be available digitally on our website and on Ravelry. Let's dive into the goodness that are those samples. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you each of the samples and talk a little bit about it. And then, you know, if there's yarn that we have for it, then I'll also share that with you. A quick overview on how yarns work. You know, we do have an online yarn shop, so, you know, you can always head over to makingmanastories.com to look for sustainably produced yarns with us. Twice a year, we drop a special collection together with the launch of our magazine. So we, a good few months before the actual release of a new issue, we send out a survey to our magazine subscribers and collective members and ask them which patterns they would want in it. And out of those patterns that they said they want in it from the new collection, we pick a handful and source yarns for them, source the original yarns and put together kits so that, you know, like this is not just us deciding, right? This is like a really nice design that we like, but this is you deciding what you want to see in the web shop, which I think is just so cool. And I love it. Like it's so cool because it always surprises me. Like there are always a couple of designs in there where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'd love to do that. So yeah, so that's kind of the backstory of how we select the yarns and the designs that you see kits for. As far as the kits go, we'll have them on the web shop for a month, so March 15th to April 15th, and when they're gone, they're gone. So we're not restocking them throughout that month, you know, unless we sell out super quickly of one thing and then you're all screaming, but that's not how I want to do this. So, you know, as you know, like I don't like waste. Like I don't like, you know, yarn sitting around. I don't like magazines sitting around. So I'm trying to, you know, forecast as best as I can how much we'll sell. And then when it's gone, it's gone. And by April 15th, we'll take the kits off the website as well. So yeah, let's start. I'm just going to work my way through the 12 samples that I have here. So there's 12 samples. There's also, just quick note, in issue 9, an amazing article by my dear friend Ash Alberg from Canada, who is a fiber witch and natural dyer. And Ash has written a beautiful piece about their dye garden, which is perfectly in tune with our theme of In Blue. First sample. So, and one of the contenders, honestly, for my first cast on, because I absolutely adore this, and I adore this in this colorway. So, this is the Bouquet Sweater by Maria Magnusson, knit in and designed for the Fiber Coast Cumbria, which is a worsted weight yarn, and it has this beautiful flowery but also very geometric lace at the front and back, and it's balanced out with stockinette sleeves and a little side ribbing. And I adore this design because it's such a wearable, you know, layering piece for spring or any transitional season, really. I imagine this wearing it over like the t-shirt that I wear right now, you know, like a thinner t-shirt. And, you know, then when it gets warm, you can just take it off. And when it gets cold, you can just throw it back on. I also really, really like lace knitting up in heavier wet yarns. I think it gives a beautiful effect. I adore the little high-low side split hem. Comes to no surprise. That comes as no surprise to anyone because the most recent sweater that I finished has that as well. And I adore the colorway of the sample. Like this just glows, doesn't it? As far as construction goes, you start it at the bottom, a little bit back and forth with both the front and the back, and then you join it and knit it in the round. And after you're done with the body and, you know, started picking up the sleeves, you knit the sleeves and then you're done, basically. So as I said, I adore the sample color. It's called Buttermere, so we had to get that in the shop. So this was one of the top spots in that survey that I mentioned earlier. So I got the Fiber Coast Cumbria, which is a beautiful worsted weight yarn, inspired by England's, you know, northwest region, and it's a blend of Mesham, Merino, and mohair, entirely made in Peru. And the Fiber Co is a company that I really, really like and really love to support. And I was so glad when they said, yes, you can become a stockist of ours. So we have a few sweater quantities of the original sample color, Buttermere. And then one of the things that I also do in that survey is that I ask you which colors you want. And there was a lot of jewel tones, light neutrals, and blues. So I've kind of tried to balance it all out. So for Cumbria, we also have Scafell Pike, which is a natural light gray on the colder side. And we have Eden Valley, which is the teal of my dreams. So yeah, this is how it shows up best. There, you can see it there. So these are the three colorways that we have: Scaffold Pike, Buttermere, and Eden Valley. And I might just snatch one of these for me. We'll see. And this is called the Bouquet Sweater by Maria Magnusson. So let me put those back in here before we progress to the next one. The next design that I'm going to show you is one that honestly surprised me a tiny little bit. It's a stunning design, but it's also one that is a little more, well, I mean, all of them are wearable. But I just, you know, it's just one of those things where I was like, okay, not sure how popular this is going to be, but it proved to be really, really popular. So this is the Bloom cardigan by Anne Ginger, and as you can see, this is a lovely shawl color cardigan with a button band, you know, slightly dropped shoulders, but with a lot of shaping to them, so that it's what's called a modified drop shoulder, so that it has a really, really good fit. And it's in a really lightweight yarn, so that it's the perfect, you know, throw-on cardigan for those early spring days. And it has this stunning texture to it. This is beautiful. The yarn that Anne used for the design is Bichebouche Le Petit Lamb's wool, which is 100% lamb's wool sourced and spun in Scotland. And we also got kits for this particular cardigan. We always do a pre-sale to our magazine subscribers and collective members, and they sold us out of the original sample colorway, Grey Beige, completely, which sadly is also out of stock. But we have, like, it's out of stock with Bichebouche, but we have 4 other really gorgeous colors. 2 that are more on the lighter side. So we have Rose Gray, which is a really beautiful dusty pink with a slight variation to it. I think it's going to look stunning in the cardigan. And we also have Soft Green, which I think is the perfect spring green. It's like sage with a little bit of darker green bits in there. I absolutely adore this. We had a few of you who said like you really wanted to have bold colors as well. So I picked out dark burgundy gray for those of you who are more into the deep dark reds. And I picked out soft blue black, which is a lovely heathered, really stunning blue. And I picked out all 4 because I thought that all 4 would make really good wearable cardigans that you can layer over a lot of different colors. So I didn't want to have something that is, you know, that you can only wear with like one particular outfit, but I picked colors that I think work well with whites and grays and navies and blacks and all of those things. So yeah. Because I think like a cardigan should be something that is really, really versatile also in the color that you knit it in. So I hope that you like them. And here for the Bloom cardigan. Next up are the Floret Socks by Pelin Akbaba. So, super cute ankle socks. If you've watched my latest podcast episodes, you know that I have a pair of ankle socks on the needles right now. I might need to make these as well because they're just super, super cute. So they combine a soothing stockinette foot with these very cute ruffles, and then you can top it off with some bobbles as well. Which, I mean, in the sample we had like 5 bobbles on the outside of each sock. You can omit them. You can choose to make them around the entire sock. You can choose to make them with every second ruffle, you know, however you want to do it. And those bobbles are also really great to use up any leftover yarn that you have in our stash, which is something that I really always enjoy. The yarn that is used for them is Garthenor Organics Snowdonia sock, and while we don't have kits for them, we still do have some of that yarn in stock, which is becoming increasingly rare. So yeah, and I think for a pair of these ankle socks, you might be able, depending on the size, you will be able to use only like one skein of them. Let me just quickly double check that for you. Not that yeah, for the smallest size, one skein would be enough, but yeah, otherwise get two. So Fear Socks, Peony Akbaba, Garthenor Organic. I also wanted to mention whether they were knit toe up or, yeah, they are knit toe up. So I always like knowing that because I'm very much a toe up kind of girl. Next up, this was also one of the sweaters that just made me truly, truly happy and that you loved in the survey. So we have kits for that as well. This is Emma Duche's Etamine sweater. A top-down, I would say, strikingly color-blocked color work sweater that is very much inspired by petals. As you can see, and it has this gorgeous combination of color blocking and texture in the yoke, which is something that I absolutely adore. These, you know, stitch lines here that mark the veins of the petals, and it has a really beautiful shape to it as well. A quite generous neckline, sort of like a scoop neck, and then positive ease in the body and slight balloon sleeves, which I think are so fun and like super playful. And it's one of my all-time favorite yarns, De Rerum Natura's Ulyss, for which we just got a big restock, and we have kits in the original colorways for this. So I haven't brought the yarn because I know that I have the sample to show you. So, you know, we'll have those kits. We'll have, this is Crème Anglaise, Argile, Bois de Rose, Amarante, and Eucalyptus as the colors. If you want, you know, color recommendations, if you would rather have a different color combo put together, very happy to help you and also snap pictures of color combinations that you're thinking about. Just send us a message or contact us through the chat. Super happy to do that. So this is Etamine by Emma Duche. Oh, work top down, so I should mention that. Next up is the second pair of socks that we have in the collection. These are the Floret Socks by Mackenzie Alvarez. You might recall that we worked with Mackenzie before in issue 6. She did the beautiful Among the Trees hat. And this time, Mackenzie created this stunning pair of lace socks for us that is just, I think, a really beautiful pair for spring. It also doesn't have too much lace in it. Like, I was like, okay, lacy socks are super pretty, but also, will they keep you warm? No. So it's a little bit, but not too much, as you can see. These are designed for and knit up in a very special yarn. It's by Wool and Palette, and Wool and Palette is the brand of Emily Lim, who's a natural dyer and slow fashion advocate in the US. And this is her Rambouillet fingering base. It is a 100% merino Rambouillet base that is sourced and spun in the US. And it's naturally dyed by Emily in her studio. She uses both forage plants and plant extracts, and it's just one of the most dedicated and thoughtful dyers that I've ever met. And so it was such a delight to get to work with her, you know, on providing the yarn support for this, but then also on getting a batch of her hand-dyed yarns. Because she works so much with forage plants, there's usually not like, you know, a lot of the same colorway. And I was so pleased that, you know, we were able to get our hands on 2 colorways that you know, work just really, really well with these socks. So the one on the left, this is the one that also the sample uses. It's called Living Coral. And the one here, it's terracotta. It's slightly darker. Both of them are dyed with meadow root. And I think, if I am not completely mistaken, they might even have come out of the same dye bath, just, you know, one after another. So, you know, as you sort of progress through a dye bath, the dye gets a lot lighter. And I think they're gorgeous. So we have these in the shop as well as kits for Mackenzie Alvarez Floret Socks. Next up, oh, and you better bet that these are going to jump on my needles, right? You know that, like all sock knitter here, 100% sock knitter. This fluffy cloud, also something that I really want to have in my wardrobe. This is the Theophrastos tee by Valerie Rachel. It's a beautiful summer, really lightweight summer t-shirt, knit from the top down in a raglan construction, and then afterwards you add on these really, really cute ruffles. And what I love here is that Valerie is playing a little bit with color as well. As you might be able to tell, the body is slightly marled, so the body is the colorways of the ruffles, the white and the sage green held together, and then you hold it single for creating the ruffles, which I think is such a beautiful effect. The yarn that Valerie used for this is Crea Deluxe's Deluxe Silk Mohair, which is a blend of baby alpaca silk and mohair, and it's absolutely gorgeous and really, really lightweight. And just look at the drape. Just love that. Really want that. Really, really want that. Also in that colorway. I need like 48 hours in the day to knit things, I tell you. Next up is the one head accessory that we have in the collection, and it is this super sweet headband by Barbara Gotvic called Tausendschön, which is a lovely German word for a million times beautiful. And I think a headband is the perfect head accessory for the spring, because most of the time you actually don't need a hat anymore, but you might want to have something to keep your ears warm when you're riding your bike and it gets a little bit chilly. So this is something that you can just knit up and put in your pocket, and then, you know, you're ready to go. It has this really beautiful cabled pattern, and then optional, you can create a little rose with leaves to sew on. So you can also just completely omit that. So it doesn't have to be, you know, it's not like, it is part of the pattern, but it's not an essential part of the pattern, if you know what I mean. You can totally omit this, or you can put it on if you like that kind of. I think I would, yeah. So it's absolutely stunning. This is knit in Hey Mama Wolf's Schafwolle number 3 by my dear friend Jule, and she is currently traveling, so her shop is on hiatus. But you know, a good structured sport to DK weight yarn with good stitch definition also works well here. And I think Jule is going to reopen her shop at some point in March. It's really beautiful. The next one that I'm going to show you is something that a lot of you got really excited about, because it's like, it's such a great, it's a great pattern, it's great fun. I think it's a beautiful representation of the theme of issue 9 in Bloom. It's the Circle of Life sweater by Julia Exner. And it is this absolutely gorgeous top-down yoke sweater. that I think is just super fun to knit, because you have a lot of different techniques, and it's kind of like you just want to go to the next technique. You want to go to the next section of the yoke, don't you? So you have a little bit of corrugated ribbing and bobbles, and then you have a bit of lace. You have a bit of rosimine, which is an Estonian technique that's explained in the pattern. You have color work, so it's only ever 2-tone color work, no 3 colors. And then again, rosimine color work, lace color work, bobbles, and really beautiful corrugated ribbing as well for the cuffs and the hem. And I just adore this. I think this is such a great, as I said, such a great representation of the pattern. Every single section of the yoke represents a different stage in the life of a plant, but it's all done in such an artistic way without being too gaudy, and I just really, really adore this. And I'm so excited because the yarn that Julia has been using is one that I've been trying to get for the shop for a long time, and this is actually one that will become an evergreen yarn, so yarn that will keep in the shop and keep expanding our colorway range. It's Holzgarn Super Soft, which is a beautiful 100% wool yarn that's great for color work, non-superwash. All of our yarns are, but it's actually really cool and really, like, it's just really stunning. I love it a lot. Like a lot. It comes in a broad colorway range. All of them are really good. It's a little bit interesting when you knit with it because it still has spinning oil in it. So it's a bit harsh when you knit with it, but it blooms absolutely beautifully when you wash it. You can totally use some dishwashing detergent to block your knits that you've made with Super Soft for the first time, because it will just get rid of all of that oil. So, because like detergent has some components in it that break down the oil, and it will just help it bloom. I should explain that. It'll just be like, hey, check your woolens into the sink with some dishwash detergent, whatever. We will have kids for this in the original color scheme, but I also wanted something a little bit colder, which is blue centered. So there is going to be a second color option that looks like this. So the bottom silver gray, it's called the light natural gray, that is going to be the main color. And then you have, please focus, you have 3 different blues and a pale yellow to tie it all together as the contrasting colors. And just so that you've seen them, hello, please stand there. So these are the colors that you would get for the original sample bundle. Yeah, Circle of Life sweater by Julia Exner. Knit top down also, I should say that. Okay, so before recording this, I recorded a podcast episode where I was like, I bought this beautiful shawl cuff from Hat and Hammer when I was at Unravel for the one shawl that I have. But I actually have 2 shawls, and I have great plans of making more, including this one, which is the Flowers and Fields shawl by Natalia Milas. And it is a super gorgeous combination of garter stitch and this stunning, right, it reminds me of wheat stalks texture, cabley goodness. And it has a really lovely generous size, just exactly the way that I want it. And one of my all-time favorite yarns, Garth & Organic Beacons. And we got a little restock of that just before Unravel, which I have also put together in kits. So we have kits in the original sample colorway, Basalt. We also have some in some of the other natural colorways. So there's Rigging, which is the white, and there's Cinder, which is a light gray. We do have a couple of sort of skeins of other colorways still left, but I don't think none of them is, enough for the kits. I think the kits might just be in the 3 natural colorways, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm hoping that, we'll get a bigger restock of beacons at some point this year, because it's such a great yarn. It's such a great yarn. At Unravel, for 2 out of the 3 days, I wore my coloring book raglan in it, and it was just so great. It was super good. So that was Flowers and Fields by Natalia Milas. 3 more to go. The first one being this very cute top by Cristina Rovetta. It's called the Hibiscus top, and it's a beautiful sort of bralette style. As you can see, stretches super, super well, with this peplum that's just delightfully fluffy and soft. And we intentionally asked Kirsten to write the pattern so that you can totally omit the peplum, so you can just knit the bralette, which comes, and I'm gonna show that to you here. So, under the peplum, you have a portion of the bralette that's knit at a much tighter gauge so that it actually holds your boobs, because that's important, at least to me, and I think a lot of you too. So, this is knit in Knitting for Olives Merino, and the peplum is knit in their silk mohair, both of which we sadly don't have in stock at the moment, but they're readily available, and I think such a great pattern to play with color, and such a delightful little thing to have in your wardrobe for the summer. So Hibiscus Bralette by Kirsten Rovetta. And then the second cardigan in the collection is this absolute beauty. This is the Peony cardigan by Marie Renier, and it's a stunning piece, which is quite cropped, has a deep V-neck, lots of texture lines, and these gorgeous balloon sleeves with flower buds on them. Can you believe it? This is so good. Like, all of the texture and the way that Marie has combined it, it just makes my heart absolute sing. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And the yarn is really, really good as well. This is one that I would love to carry in the shop at some point. It's La Bien-Aimée Curry worsted. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It has this beautiful, La Bien-Aimée is just such an expert at dyeing, so it has this beautiful hand-dyed look to it, but it's also just a very good yarn. So, and that's a great combination. Last but not least is the Blossom t-shirt by Ayano Tanaka. And this is actually something that I think I am definitely going to cast on for myself. I am contemplating colorways at the moment because I want more knit t-shirts in my life. This is knit in Pasquale's Cumbria. It's also called Cumbria, which is a viscose cotton blend done by a German yarn company. And it's this gorgeous lace detailed drop shoulder t-shirt, quite boxy, quite oversized, just the way that I like it. And the V-neck is a really beautiful bonus. So this is Blossom by Ayano Tanaka. And those are all the issue 9 samples and yarns. Wow! So all of these will be available as of March 15th on our website. The kits will go away on April 15th. The issue 9 itself is available as a pre-order for the print copy right now, as is our subscription. The digital versions will be available as of March 15th, both on our website and on Ravelry. And I really, really hope that you liked this kind of combined glimpse into the magazine and the samples and the yarns. I used to do separate videos for those, but I wanted to mix things up a little bit because those things are so interlinked. I always felt like I was, you know, when I was recording the video about the yarns, I was referencing the sample video all the time, and I just felt like I'm asking you, the viewers, to jump back and forth between too many things. So I decided to switch things up. And I would love to know how you like this, whether you prefer the one bigger video about all of the things in one issue, or the slightly more, you know, chopped up version where there's one video about the samples and one video about the yarn. And also, I want to know what you pass on. So if you know, got a kit from us, if you have yarns in your stash, if there's a pattern that calls your name, do let me know in the comments below, because I always want to know what's on your needles, because I love knitting so much. Thank you so much for, you know, watching this. If you liked this video, do check out our podcast episodes. You might like those as well. They come out every other week on Monday or Tuesday. And yeah. If you want to shop with us, makingmanystories.com is where it's at, and you can always subscribe to our newsletter, which is where I share all of the things when they come into the shop and what we're doing and why we do it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.